Hello, I'm Dr. Kia, a licensed psychologist and certified group psychotherapist. Welcome to my video series, Tell It Like It Is Tuesday, where I take a common esteem or relationship issue and tell it like it is. Human beings are a tribal species. If you think about it, hunter-gatherers needed to belong to a community or tribe in order to survive. As a result, the desire to connect and belong is wired into our DNA. The people who tend to have the most trouble connecting with others are those who either struggle to look inward and examine their own thoughts, behaviors, and feelings, or those who struggle with openly sharing those insights with others, aka defensive people. Rejecting people before they can reject you can be isolating and lonely, although someone who's really defensive would likely have trouble admitting that. In today's video, I'm going to begin by highlighting the types of experiences that lead people to be defensive. Then I'm going to end by challenging those defensive behaviors, providing more adaptive alternatives. The first thing that I would like you to consider is behavior is purposeful. If you or someone who you know is defensive, you weren't born that way. It's more likely that you had a very painful experience of rejection or abandonment. This can include anything from having felt unloved, unwanted, or unvalued by a parental figure to having felt betrayed by someone who you really trusted. Sometimes in an effort to survive the pain of those experiences, people build walls to prevent themselves from experiencing that type of pain again in the future. The thought, or to use a clinical term, private logic, is if I do not allow people in, then they cannot hurt me. Unfortunately, this is a maladaptive strategy when it comes to meeting your basic need to belong. Let me explain why. Emotional walls repel healthy functioning people. People who are guarded have very distinct ways of engaging with other people. For instance, they may choose to limit what they share about themselves, and they often test people or make people jump through hoops to see if they're interested or trustworthy. For example, let's say that you're building a new friendship with someone and you realize that you have been responsible for coordinating most of the outings. If you're guarded or defensive, you may just stop communicating with the other person, waiting to see if he or she will invite you out. If you're open and non-defensive, you're likely to initiate a conversation with the person expressing your concern. The problem with testing people who don't know that they're being tested is that you're at risk for weeding out all of the healthy functioning people. See, when someone has healthy interpersonal skills, they don't feel attracted to people who are guarded. Instead, they're more likely to respond appropriately to someone whose behavior may be interpreted as disinterest. Utilizing the previous example, if you're guarded and stop talking to a new friend with no explanation, hoping that they'll invite you out, someone with healthy interpersonal patterns would interpret your behavior as disinterest and totally move on to invest their time and energy in a relationship with someone who's more willing to reciprocate. In contrast, someone with unhealthy boundaries or interpersonal patterns, they may feel more driven to continue to contact you, thus passing your test. The problem with this scenario is that you're on your way to the self-fulfilling prophecy. The person that passed the test is the person who is the least likely to offer you a healthy relationship. As a result, you'd be on your way to another experience of abandonment or rejection. Choosing to be miserable to prevent yourself from being miserable doesn't make sense. If you're guarded or defensive and your logic is that you're saving yourself from suffering, your logic is flawed. An unrelated example is choosing never to be excited about anything because you're afraid of disappointment. Same logic. It's flawed because suffering is a part of the human condition, and as someone who is living and breathing, you cannot avoid it. It's also flawed because the person that chooses to never be excited about anything in an effort to never be let down never truly gets to experience happiness. Instead, he or she is choosing a constant state of misery. The same can be said about someone who chooses to be guarded in relationships. Unfortunately, choosing to be guarded results in a lifetime of never really experiencing a true connection with another person, which, as I stated earlier, is a basic human need. Denying yourself of basic human needs is no more adaptive than allowing yourself to be open in a relationship with the potential of being hurt. In summary, defensive or guarded people make the world their enemy because they never really get to experience a true connection with others. Although there's likely a reason that people have chosen to engage in that way, choosing to be guarded in relationships creates the perfect storm for superficial or unfulfilling relationships and long-term isolation. Ultimately, being guarded or defensive is maladaptive because those behaviors are in direct competition with the basic human need of connection. If you're struggling to be open in interpersonal or romantic relationships, you may benefit from taking some time to heal from your past, challenging yourself to be open in small doses with others, and finding ways to be more present with your true thoughts and feelings. Thanks for watching. If you don't know the secrets to forming and maintaining healthy relationships and self-esteem, like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube page. If you want a quick behind-the-scenes look at real relationship counseling, don't forget to check back.